Welcome, folks. I'm here with Stu Brauer. Stu is one of my favorite people in the world, actually. In addition to owning a CrossFit gym, or a CrossFit style of gym, we'll talk a little bit about that, called Urban Movement. He also owns a consulting company that helps other gym owners literally across the world. He calls that WTFGymTalk, and we will get into both of those. Just a little more about Stu. He is a born leader, extremely smart about fitness and life in general. And he's one of the funniest and most direct business people I know. He's my first interview of the podcast, and I couldn't be more thrilled than to be here with him because he covers two of my favorite topics, fitness and startups. So welcome to the show, Stu.
Awesome, man. We're setting the bar real fucking high today.
Everyone
after me is just going to get sloppy seconds. Awesome, and no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on this.
Thank you, Stu. And I especially appreciate you hosting me here. We're actually coming to you from Stu's studio, so it's great. It takes a little bit of the stress of starting a new venture like this out.
Yeah, it's cool. We get to test out some of the equipment. You get to kind of see the flow and how you want, because everyone's set up when you do podcasting. Some people are they're really good podcasters that still just do shit old school over the phone. They still just record. It just whatever nature of conversation, whatever keeps it the most natural for you.
Yep.
And this has always just worked well enough for me. But yeah, hopefully you get to kind of take away some things from here and how when you set up your own shop in your own studio, how you want it to be done.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you for both of those. I really do appreciate that. And before we get started, I have to ask, what's the last meal you had, and what was the last workout you did?
Oh God!
Other than the Irish whiskey.
The Irish whiskey that we're drinking now. Last meal, I ate Chipotle yesterday. That's pretty much on par. 5 days a week, at least 5 meals a week. The Chipotle app, since they redid it, the new Chipotle app is fucking amazing. It is so good. You can dictate extra, rice, light extra rice, heavy extra. It's super great.
Awesome.
It's great. So Chipotle would be the last meal. Last workout was probably before I left. I've been in San Jose this week, so probably last workout was Monday. If I get in 3 a week, I'm happy. If I can get more than that in a week, workout-wise, I'm really content with that. My goal is to be in here Monday through Friday for our 5:30 a.m. class, but unfortunately that doesn't always happen. I'm normally here. I'm just normally working or editing or something that I just can't justify stepping away for a workout at that point. But 3 days a week is kind of like the go-to now. If I can make that happen, I'm happy.
Heavy weights or light weights, cardio?
So I'll do whatever.
What was the last one? Actually?
Yeah, so I would whatever our class workout is at 5:30 a.m. and that class that Urban Movement here flips. We have 2 different levels of classes. We have what's called our lift and move class, which is an isolated strength class. There is an isolated strength portion, and you are able to take that workout and tailor it in a conditioning or a strength kind of setting. So for example, the workout might have 10 box jumps, and then it'll give you the option 3 heavy power cleans or 9 unbroken lighter power cleans, and then a 200-meter row. So now I can go ahead, and if I'm feeling like lifting heavy that day, I can opt for the lower rep scheme, heavier load, or the higher rep scheme, lighter load. If I want more of a lung burner, I want to just keep going, I'm feeling fat over the weekend, whatever it may be. So lift and move was the last class I did. I don't remember exactly what I think it had involved heavy thrusters, over the box jumps, and then we do a lot of ring pull-ups. So we got rid of our pull-up rig, and we'll do a lot of kipping ring pull-ups or strict ring pull-ups on there. And the nice thing about the rings or any kind of dynamic pull-up, it gives you it's way better for tight shoulders. The number one injury in CrossFit is a shoulder injury. It's the number one injury in all fitness. Whether you're bodybuilding, powerlifting, it's the shoulder. You'll hear guys get it from bench pressing. It's because it has the greatest range of motion.
I did it on pull-ups, and you had me rehab through using rings for a while before getting back on it.
100%. But even this isn't a fixed object. I'm talking about this rig that I have here for a camera, and it's a fix, so that means my shoulder has to accommodate that fixed object. So when you're doing pull-ups on a pull-up bar, and you don't possess that range of motion, you're constantly putting the threshold of and the stress on the shoulder versus the rings. The rings just move with you. Yeah. So no matter what your range of motion, you're able to, the rings will accommodate you versus you accommodating the pull-up bar. So I'm pretty sure we had kipping ring strict ring pull-ups, which I generally do, or kipping ring pull-ups. That was the last one.
Great. Yeah, Monday though. This is Friday.
Yeah, wow. This is Friday. Yeah, so it's been literally all week. Yeah, I've just been traveling, and I'm not fit. You go through cycles.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was obsessive. In my younger days, even when I started the business, I was very fitness obsessed, personally for myself, and then being the architect of creating fitness in others. I was obsessed with it. That was my life's work. Now at the current stage of the business where I'm at now, it's more, we've established that we do that very well in here. Now it's growing the business, it's the real estate play, it's this consulting stuff. So with that, I'll be honest with you, fitness is in a cycle for me right now where it's probably one of the least important things personally for me, right? Where if I'm like, hey, I've got to edit this vlog, or I go get that workout in, I will choose, because I want to, editing the vlog every single time, because I just generally enjoy that more at this current stage of my life. But who knows, I could I could go to Inner Peaks one day on a flyer just to hang out and be like, holy shit, rock climbing? I could watch Free Solo or the documentary and be like, fuck it, I'm going to get into rock climbing, and that could become the new thing. So I don't get strict on myself with fitness. I realize it comes in waves. Some people get really into CrossFit, then they get really into Olympic weightlifting, or they get into marathons, and some people are really big into it comes in cycles, and I just kind of let it happen naturally. I don't try to direct that boat.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've learned that. And I used to really beat myself up if I would miss a week here or a week there. And I've just learned to just go with what your body feels like.
Fitness wasn't created in one workout or 10 workouts or even 100 workouts. It's a process. And CrossFit, I think, gets very sadomasochist with it, where if you get upset with yourself if you're not training. Like, what the fuck am I training for? I'm trying to grow this business. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to make sure my staff is doing well. I'm just looking to get in a good sweat. That is it. And so when I took the stress of the needing to train so I PR a lift, or because I want to do better on 20.1 at the CrossFit Open next year, when I really I put it in perspective, and just me, and this is just my truth, I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I just had all this stress kind of go off of me. And luckily again, I'm an ectomorph. I'm naturally a skinny guy. I can stop working out for a few weeks and I'm not going to get obese. I'm not going to suffer, right? Sure. Now, I need to keep working out if I want to maintain any size whatsoever. I'd wither away. But it's crazy, dude. My workouts now look so silly. They look, so I'll do single leg calf raises with a balance focus since I bought a boosted board. I bought an electric skateboard, and that is my new obsession. It's my fucking new obsession.
That's awesome.
It's my favorite point of the day because I don't think about business. I don't think about my family. I don't think about anything but staying alive. I ride an electric skateboard that goes 24 miles an hour down streets that are 40 mile an hour speed limits.
Do you wear a helmet?
I wear a helmet, but I am in the middle of traffic with everybody. I am not on the side.
How old's your daughter?
My daughter's 2. She'll be 2. Yeah. Life insurance policy, we increased it when I bought the skateboard.
But good for Zoe.
Yeah. So I ride this thing, and it is my favorite thing to do. I am so depressed it's going to rain this weekend because I love that because I just get to feel alive.
Yep.
I have to watch out for traffic. When I drive, I hate driving, but I record podcasts in my car, or I'm making business calls.
Sounds safe.
Or I'm doing other things. But when I'm on that booster board, I don't do anything. I don't listen to music. I just enjoy my relationship with the city of Charlotte has increased. I start finding different routes and ways to get places and recognize different things. Anyway, so that's my most favorite thing. So that dictates a lot of my training. Deuce will make fun of me all the time. He's like, dude, how are those calf raises going, you pussy? And I'm like, dude, my balance is horrible. I started getting knee pain when I was riding the board, and then my physical therapist dictated it was because of weak ankles and weak calves. So now I'm doing all this ankle stability and calf strengthening stuff just to make my boosted boarding better and to hurt my feet less.
True functional fitness. A
true functional fitness, yeah. So yeah, fitness is just cyclical. Everyone goes through phases. Pregnant women, same thing. You'll take someone, you and me probably know a lot of girls that are very competitive backyard competition CrossFit style, and they're going to get pregnant at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, and that fitness level is going to change because it's a completely different perspective.
Except I work out at a gym where Breeze works out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit of a different story.
It's completely different. I saw her because our houses are right next to each other. I carry the baby in her wet wagon, and I'm driving the boosted board. And I just carry it around the neighborhood. And I saw her. She was out there filming some air squat workout in the park, just knocking it out, just doing what Breeze does. So
she's a machine.
She is a machine.
So we'll talk a little bit more about fitness, but I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about really both of your businesses. Can you just give folks an introduction to both of the businesses? And it's probably, it's not fair to say both of the businesses. Yeah. When I say both, I mean the whole of Urban Movement. Yep. And you can talk about all the components of that and also the consulting business as well.
So Urban Movement, I found all I've ever done is fitness. Since I was in high school, this is what I went to college for, exercise physiology, was going to go to grad school, got accepted at Middle Tennessee State University, dropped out right before school started to go and pursue this thing. So I've been doing this I found CrossFit in 2006, back when nobody knew what it was. And I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time.
That was before the first games.
Yeah, the first games was 07. Yeah, first games technically was 07, and the one Khalipa won was 2008.
Okay.
And so it was this underground thing where I had to tell everybody what CrossFit was for years, and even up until like 2015 and 16, when CrossFit, the saturation, and it became a household name. Trainwreck. You know, the Amy Schumer movie with LeBron James. They, John Cena's in there making fun of CrossFit. Like, that's like a moment for people, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we've made it.
Yeah, we've made it. Yeah, and so CrossFit is in pop culture. And once it got into pop culture, because of, unfortunately, what I consider the bad the bad global branding of CrossFit, where it is a fitness methodology for everyone, but it's also a sport for the fittest in the world.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, it got a little confusing, so I decided to rebrand and reposition my business as Urban MVMNT. We are people ask me what Urban MVMNT is, and I use brand anchoring. I say it's like CrossFit, but you won't get injured, and it's less douchey. And it's like Orange Theory, but it's not boring, and you won't run on a treadmill for an hour. We are in this white space in the middle. And so,
for folks who haven't been to the gym, you really should check it out. It really is the mind-blowingly beautiful concept. Very well done.
Yeah, so I mean, John was at my old location. We rented 2 small little warehouses in the past 8 years, and then I decided I wanted to get into commercial real estate. And so when I purchased this building, I had this completely different idea, where Urban MVMNT was going to be a place where people came to get work done and work out. So we have a coffee shop in here, we have a Wi-Fi lounge. People come in here all throughout the day. They're not members. They just come in here as a customer of the coffee shop or to use the free Wi-Fi lounge and hang out. And they get to look through the glass windows and see maybe a class going on, or at least inquire, or maybe they never become members. Who cares? So that was my different vision. I kind of just graduated. So that's what Urban MVMNT is today as far as that goes. It is a place for people to work out and get work done.
And before we get into the other business, what do you do to improve this business and to grow it? Is it to grow the membership base? Is it to grow the price per
So I've taken a huge hit membership base wise. I took a very healthy business. Like CrossFit South End was, and this is all I do now as I look at the numbers of businesses, we were doing phenomenal. We at our most, we were touching on $500,000 a year at a very, very healthy profit margin. So for brick and mortar fitness, a 30% profit margin is an A+. That is an A+.
That's EBITDA. That's not gross margin.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll call it EBITDA. 30% is for a gym to pull that off and be able to walk away from it. So I had an Isaac running the place. I had coaches. That is very difficult to do. We were doing very well. When I moved this thing over here, John can relate to this. Our old location, the visibility of our old location. I've got a photo to remind me of it right up there. I kept that specific photo for a reason. I took for granted how great of visibility and marketing just visibility is, and being in front of everyone. So we had our parking lot is a huge tailgating parking lot on Sundays for Panthers games. Everyone saw it. As you got off that highway, you had to sit there at the light and stare at our building. It was amazing. I didn't spend
and when people come to the events from out of town, traffic backs up right along that street.
It was the best, man. Like, there was never going to be a better visibility spot, but I didn't own it, and I had to play the long-term game. I'm taking very short-term pain for long-term gain, if you will.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, our membership, so for me, to answer your question, it's not necessarily membership growth at this point. Right now, we are just very much in a brand awareness scenario. You know, I had my first, I had an encounter maybe like 8 months ago where someone saw me with an Urban MVMNT hoodie, and a woman came up to me at the grocery store and goes, "Oh my God, I have been meaning to check that out with my husband." And I'm like, "Oh my God, great, you guys should come to one of our classes." And she just stared at me. She's like, "It's a microbrewery, right?" And I was like, "Fuck, damn it," because I no longer have the CrossFit name to wave in the air. Like, people, again, like I started when nobody knew what it was. That's the problem now. Everybody has an idea as to what it is, but it is a different idea. Some people, like you, love it. Other people hate it because their mom tried it and blew out her ACL.
Or it seems like a cult because people are posting about it all the time.
100%. And so I can't. So part of me, it's a chip on my shoulder. Can I create my own brand and do my own thing? Is all the success that I had as CrossFit South End, I had the greatest name in the world in Charlotte, which is South End, attached to your business, and then you had this CrossFit thing. Did I have this amazing luck, or can I actually create my own flag, fly that shit, and actually grow it? And so part of that is a chip on my shoulder, but brand awareness is our biggest thing right now. You know, people coming in and, when I meet people and I say, "Oh, I own Urban MVMNT," and people say, "Oh, I've heard of that," that is a win for me. When people were canceling and we get their cancellation form, what is the number one reason or why are you canceling? And the number one reason was, it's not CrossFit anymore. That's me winning. Sure. That means I'm actually doing something. Besides just a lot of gyms change the name on the front of the building, but it's just CrossFit on the inside. You know, like I talked with Eric about that over at Stacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a CrossFit gym on the inside. Just changing the digital outside, but if you walk inside, it is exactly what you would expect for a CrossFit gym. It is. I wanted to make it so that the name of the outside was different, but then when you walk in and look at the inside, it is truly different as well. And so that's the current challenge right now. It's just, I'd say we are very much still in a brand awareness. Yes, do we want membership growth? 100%.
Yeah.
But I'll sacrifice that. I'm in no ruch for that yet. I just wanted to get the name out there.
Well, and the real estate play is phenomenal.
Sure.
When you bought out here, it was a very different landscape.
And it's only been 2 years, or going on 3 years from the time we closed. 2 years since we moved in. But yeah, the landscape here is changing insanely. But you know, and the real estate thing, again, it's all patience. And that's hard because the CrossFit gym for me exploded in a course of 5 years. Like exploded for me. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to market.
Yeah. It
was easy money. That's like when I hear gyms that went out of business in like 2012 to 15. I'm like, what the fuck were you doing that you went out of business? How did that happen? You'd be a moron and do this.
Well, I told a friend, he said, I noticed a couple CrossFit gyms shut down recently near me, and he said, is that a thing? Because he was here touring Urban MVMNT.
Yeah.
He said, is that a thing that people are just bailing? And I said, well, usually when a CrossFit gym closes, it's because they outgrew their location and they're going into a bigger one. But maybe we could hit on that in a little bit, whether you see that trend 100%. Reversing. But I do want you to touch a little bit on WTFGymTalk and the consulting business. So maybe again, introduce the listeners to what it is.
So what the fuck Gym Talk? WTFGymTalk was this idea I had where at the time, from a business consulting standpoint, there was really not a lot out there. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman from Canada named Chris Cooper. He's a phenomenal business consultant, a great entrepreneur. Jason Kalipo was doing a little bit of it. He was very popular in the CrossFit realm scenario. He's done an amazing job.
You mentioned he won the 08 games.
Yeah, me and him were driving around in this truck 2 days ago. I was in San Jose with him. So,
wow.
And then, but there was really nobody. Jason Kalipo won the games, you know, so there was a popularity ahead of time. There was these guys like Ben Bergeron, who his wife won the games, and he coaches all these games athletes, and he has a successful gym. There was nobody that looked like me, a fuckface that nobody knew. I've never competed in CrossFit like that, and nobody knows who I am. And I started off in a pickup truck with $600 of Craigslist equipment, and I organically grew it through nothing but hard work and some knowledge, because this is the industry I decided to be in. You know, a lot of CrossFit owners, they made a passion purchase. They were actually a dental hygienist assistant, and they lost 40 pounds at the CrossFit gym, and they had this amazing thing. Their Aunt Betsy dies, leaves them 75 grand, and they decided to open up and quit their life trajectory and become a fucking CrossFit owner.
I visited a couple of those. You can tell they feel very different.
Yeah, and like, I feel super comfortable. I would go toe-to-toe with anybody in the world on any training methodology argument where I have one position and they have another, and I would feel completely fine that I could stand up to anybody in the world. Because I'm a coach first. Like, that's what I've known. Human movement, kinesthetic awareness, kinesiology, all that stuff. So I had all of that, but nobody was doing the business thing with this kind of rags to riches kind of story. Mm-hmm. And I have a certain delivery method that I didn't see anybody else out there. I am a little bit more Howard Stern, shock jock, a little more in your face.
Can I interject for 1 second and just tell the folks a funny story? So Stu was coaching me probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I've got really bad squat form, always have. And so he's having me squat down to a box, and I'm being very hesitant, or maybe even reticent, I don't know what the term is, but I'm not squatting all the way down. And Stu, to his Howard Stern point, yells out at me, "Espy, what the fuck? You're not in a public bathroom trying to avoid herpes."
Yeah, hovering over the toilet seat, yeah.
Hovering over the toilet seat.
It's a perfect verbal cue where people are like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that's like to hover over it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, but I think that's instructive of your style.
And it's very much more nurtured than it is, maybe it's nature, maybe it's genetic, but like I grew up in a very Irish Catholic household in Cleveland, Ohio, sitting down every Sunday with my grandparents and my family watching the Cleveland Browns, especially during the years where Art Modell took us away to the... I grew up, and literally, dude, I was swearing at an unhealthy level at a very young age. And it was upbringing. Me and Susan, who's my mom, and I love her dearly. We can't go an hour with each other without just motherfuck this and cocksucker that and this and that. It gets very aggressive. So my nature is always a little bit more. I mean, like, to John's point, I've told people, like, hey guys, clench your prison wallet. Meaning I want them to squeeze their butt cheeks. Like, I will use cues that nobody taught me. It's just part of my upbringing.
Sure. Has that ever gotten you in trouble, by the way?
Well, not in my own business, no. I'm sure maybe some clients sign off it. I mean, I get the internet tells me every single day, you get the people who chime in. They still subscribe to your YouTube. They want to let you know that they think you're the worst human being in the world. Yeah. So I hear it every day, but What the Fuck Gym Talk, it was just, I wanted to have a very no BS approach to giving people practical business advice from someone who literally just went through this very particular kind of story that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I just thought I had a delivery style that made storytelling just a tad bit more interesting than what was currently out there. Not that any of those other guys are fine, just in my opinion, it was boring as fuck.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to take that. And I had the opportunity. I walked away from the business. Isaac, who's my GM on the other side of this wall, she makes this business operate and run. She is absolutely amazing. We have Deuce now, so I'm not needed in urban movement.
Yeah, you've got a great staff.
Yeah,
sure.
so like what else do I do besides help other gym owners? So.
Yeah. So with the two businesses, I mean, I think I know the answer. Talk a little bit about which is more exciting, and also, it's weird because you couldn't have WTF Gym Talk without
the CrossFit
urban
experience and
so
urban,
so maybe just talk about all of that whole dynamic and how that works out for you in your mind.
I think things happen subconsciously. So when I look at it, and I've talked to my branding and marketing coach about this, when we really think about the creation story of What the Fuck Gym Talk, urban movement, I really love the idea. I love the concept of it. And it's still so young. I'm like watching a baby. I've got a 2-year-old baby and I have a 2-year-old business. I think of urban movement as a brand new business, even though the LLC and everything's the same as it used to be. But I look at it as, did I take the risk to buy the real? I could have just leased like everybody else and still had a really successful business and all that. Did I do the real estate thing to put me in this 0.001% of gym owners so I could talk about it and have that thing? Am I doing this urban movement thing to give myself clout for What the Fuck Gym Talk? And then am I doing What the Fuck Gym Talk to develop a following of people who then maybe want to go to franchise or affiliate or license urban movements across the country? I now have a built-in clientele. Like, is it the chicken or the egg? Which way are the dominoes falling?
Sure.
Am I doing one to support the other? And
it doesn't have to be a linear
It doesn't
thing.
have. No, it doesn't. But it's funny when I sit there and think about, like, am I subconsciously pulling a Frank Underwood and thinking of the long con on some of this stuff? And I don't really think of it like that. It's funny to kind of step outside of my brain and look at it where those dominoes might fall. The excitement right now is definitely for me is in watching urban movement develop, turn into a man, turn into a person, an adult, a real business. Like I said, brand awareness is all I care about right now. So, but that is a very slow grind. Like that is something you have to have an extreme amount of patience on. And I would say with What the Fuck Gym Talk, it's a much more instant gratification. I can spend 1 hour on the phone with somebody and get that text or that email a week later, like, holy shit, I did what you told me to do, and I'm going to make payroll this month and rent, and my kids are still going to get their braces. So there's a little more instant gratification. I enjoy the traveling. I enjoy the content creation, creating videos and editing and stuff like that, something I've taken a huge love to. My day-to-day is 100% consumed by What the Fuck Gym Talk, and then there's splurts of urban movement in between.
Okay, very, very interesting for sure. I can definitely see how the two feed off of one another and create options for you in the future. When you're talking to a gym owner who wants to scale their business, what are the options for them typically to scale it? Because they're not all going to be able to create What the Fuck Gym Talk, right?
For a micro gym, you mean?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing, everyone generally steps into the group model. You know, they sell memberships. And I think the first thing you have to do at that point is realize it's what I call a one-to-one model. So let's say the gym membership's $150 a month, and John joins up, he hands me $150, and I just charge him $150 on the back end. That model, one-to-one, will only work in very specific volume-based micro gyms. We're talking 400 plus members.
That's what you need to
That
get
is
to.
the
Really.
only, that is maybe 300 and change or whatever, but it has to be a volume-based micro gym. And CrossFits don't lend themselves well to being volume-based because the amount of equipment and space needed per workout is very high, and the skill level is high. You need more coaches on the floor, and it just starts fucking with your economic model. So adding in personal training is my personal preference. I believe everybody coming into a CrossFit gym should probably start off with one-on-one coaching first. And even like back in my early days, we didn't do this. You know, like you didn't start off with one-on-one. We did one-on-one.
We had fundamentals.
We had our fundamentals, and we did one-on-ones later on down the road with some stuff in individual design. But I believe installing things like personal training and having that become 20, 25, 30% of your total monthly revenue, getting that up there. Everyone enters through that genesis. Even the experienced CrossFitters that come to you, having them do one session to test in the class, handing them a sheet of paper. Can you perform all these movements? And then sometimes you see these guys have been doing CrossFit for 6 years. They can barely do anything well. And you're like,
sure.
That's why we pump the brakes here. So I think there's that from a scaling. I don't think a lot of micro gym owners are set up to do multiple locations. Okay. I don't think that's the scaling option. I think that's where too many guys go too quickly. I think they got lucky. Like again, like it would have been really easy for me to look at CrossFit South and be like, holy fuck, I can do CrossFit
Low-so.
Yeah, low-so really well, and because I did it this way, and I think it's not until you've been able to put your people in place, like your GM, your assistant GM, and walk away from it. I mean, like when I mean walk away, I mean walk away from it for 12 months, and it actually grew. It thrived. It did not just survive. Then I think the scale could be a second location, or I think you could fuck with the digital scale, which with What the Fuck Gym Talk, the great thing about that is higher scalability to the, especially with Micro Gym University, that creates a scalable model.
Yeah, it's interesting to think if there's a Peloton play along
I think there's a digital play.
Lines,
Imagine if you cancel my gym because you got to study for the bar, right? And I'm like, well, John, what are you going to do for fitness? I don't know, mate. There's an apartment complex gym that I've got on my plate. I'm probably just do some of the stuff you taught me. Like, well, listen, for $14.99, you can access Movement Anywhere. That is our app that gives you up-to-date, brand new workouts that we are doing here in class. It shows you how to scale them, whether you have no equipment, if you just have a dumbbell, whatever. Hell, we have a package here that is an ab mat, a foam roller, and a torpedo, and you can buy that and get Movement Anywhere and still follow along. It's only $14.95 a month. Do you know how many people spend $14.95 a month on bullshit they don't even realize they're getting subscribed for?
Yeah.
So I think there is a digital...
gyms.
Yeah, I think you could create a digital revenue stream where somebody can still stay on a small EFT tit even after they cancel.
Yep.
And even if you have 30% of your people who cancel to stay on the tit there, and you would eventually be crazy like, holy shit, there are people actually purchasing this that don't even ever go to the gym. Maybe that's your low barrier to entry to get them in the gym first.
Yep.
I think there's something to that obviously requires a great deal of investment in time and energy and resources to make that happen, but I think Peloton's here to stay. I think Alchemy Anywhere is here to stay. I think Tonal is here to stay. The Mirror, all these digital brands, they're not going to go anywhere. ClassPass has a digital version now, and you're going to be able to do ClassPass at home. So yes, I think digital will be the other thing from a scalability.
And I wanted to ask you where you think the innovation is coming, because clearly CrossFit changed the game and was a major innovation and really changed the way people think about fitness in America and globally as well. Do you think the next wave of innovation comes more with the personalized digital distributed, to literally millions and billions of users, or is there some other format that's out there that you think can...
Just like CrossFit didn't create the pull-up or the power clean and sprinting 400 meters, they're kind of like the Beatles. The Beatles didn't create the G chord and the C chord and the F sharp, but they put it together in a way that the masses loved it. It made sense. It was different than what they had heard before.
How do you see this evolving over time, your content strategy?
Yeah, so very similar to my plan now with Urban Movement, the first thing was just awareness. Right? So like when you look at a buying cycle, there's awareness, consideration, and then purchase. I knew I needed to spend at least 2 years with just awareness, making a video every single day about a topic I thought was interesting. Now, talking head videos get boring, but some guys can pull them off, where it's just you in front of your camera talking about a thing. And that's where your delivery just has to be super unique. The analogies you use, the reference points.
Where your research has to be on point.
Yeah.
Ben Greenfield does this very well.
Yeah, you gotta pull it off. And so that was my first thing, was I'm just going to get brand awareness and get out there. And then I used the internet as distribution. So there are thousands of Facebook groups that are CrossFit affiliate owners in South Africa, CrossFit affiliate owners in Connecticut. I joined them all. And then I would use those channels as distribution. And I would go in and I would share, hey guys, I had some thoughts about a thing. Here are my thoughts written out in long form, but here's also a video I made, check it out. And I slowly started to develop this reputation. And so that was kind of the concentration. Now it's a lot different. This year, 2019, so I wanted to double my content production from last year, but I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to see, can I make the sheep follow me, right? Can I direct my audience? My audience is mainly on Facebook. That's where a lot of gym owners are. Can I get them over to YouTube? Could I grow an audience on YouTube in 2 years that rivals my audience on Facebook? And so I started with a vlog. So now it's just vlog 3 days a week. That is the only new content I really upload, is a 3-day-a-week vlog, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to YouTube. So now it's, can I take the people who are accustomed to watching me on Facebook and put them there? Now,
and I take it you have way more subscribers on YouTube than on, say, Apple or Spotify podcast, or what does that look like?
No, the YouTube is probably the smallest, because I just started doing that at the end of January. So YouTube is still a super small subscriber count. Lots of views, and that's one of the things on YouTube is interesting, how many views you get versus actually people who subscribe, and that's always what you're trying to match up. You'll get, the last video got 5,000 views. I don't have 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, kind of scenario. But and so now the content strategy now is a little more focused. Each day is a little bit more of a story, and that gets it into there. Whereas with the other one, I was just like, hey, what's the topic for today? Oh, cancellations. Fuck it. Set the camera up. I'm just going to talk on cancellations.
Okay.
But now here's the great thing. We post 7 to 9 videos. We have 380 some videos in circulation on Facebook. I've made over 382 videos.
Wow.
And we post 7 to 9 a day. So Leah, who does all the media management for, you know Leah.
I know Leah.
For What the Fuck Gym Talk, she just schedules reruns. So again, I post 7 to 9 times a day on What the Fuck Gym Talk. And
how often do you push that out through the different channels, Instagram, and Facebook?
Yeah, so Instagram will come up. Instagram generally is more. I use Instagram more as to push to the vlog, to grow the vlog, and just daily muses, just daily thoughts, shit like that. Post one-off videos, things like that. But Facebook is just kind of like a channel now that lives with reruns. So it's always new to somebody. There's someone who has not seen all 382 fucking videos and has those things cycle. Like, oh my god, that video was so good you just made. I'm like, dude, I made that 2 years ago, but thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. If
Long tail engagement.
yeah, correct. If you want the new shit, go check out the vlog. But yeah, so that for me, that's where it was just brand awareness. And then once I created and 382 videos is honestly not that many fucking videos when you really think about it. And then now it's just re-engagement and creating those. And then I look at them, and if there's any ones I'm like, I change my thesis on that. I pull that video and I reshoot a new one.
Cool. Very cool. And between the different channels, which do you think give you the best engagement, and also which ones bring out the most trolls?
Yeah, YouTube. So I started fucking with Reddit.
Okay.
Like I've never.
I love Reddit. By the way,
I've never messed with Reddit. Torito got me on Reddit, right?
My problem with Reddit is I need to be ready to lose 3 hours of my life.
Oh, you need to be ready for it, but like I mean, the amount of hate that you will get on Reddit is insane. It's the platform you can only post in the very beginning until your karma points get up. I'm having to learn a new platform. And I'm trying to see how if I can siphon it. It's been crazy. Like they just in the past 4 days, I think I've grown by like 500 subscribers, and I'm 100,000%. They are all from Reddit, where 90% of the feedback was hate.
Okay.
So again, people will subscribe and watch.
And do you still read the negative comments?
Oh yeah, I do, and I don't get upset or anything. I think it's more humorous than anything else.
Sure.
But yeah, no, because any comment is a good comment to me.
So I noticed that you like to simultaneously record video.
Yeah.
Even if it's for a podcast.
Sure.
That you're doing. Can you talk about that? How you figured it out? Why you do it?
Yeah, it
what
just
the motivating factor is.
So I spent 2 years where I had videographers, guys who would film me, very daily V aspect, D-Rock kind of style, having a videographer follow you around, and that was dope. But there wasn't enough speed. Meaning I could have an idea like, fuck, I want to shoot this right now, and Chris can't be here for another 2 hours or whatever, or he has other projects and editing is going to take him 4 days to get the fucking edit.
I saw him over at the Level office today, so that's probably taking up some of his time.
Oh yeah, a little bit, since I lost him to Level. He, having the videographer was great, and it taught me a lot of things, and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to start the vlog. I'm going to start doing all the creation and content, editing, and all that stuff myself. With that, just like we're doing right here, right now, I started doubling up. So what I can do is I can record with a video, a podcast. I can take that audio, throw it out onto Anchor, and spread my podcast. I can then take that video and publish that video to Facebook or YouTube or whatever I want. And then I can go to rev.com and send them the audio file. And for $1 a minute, they'll transcribe the entire thing into written word. And then I can make a blog post out of that. So I can get 3 pieces of content for one attempt, one single attempt. And rev.com is an amazing thing. So back in the day, I used to do a lot of SRT files, which are the captions, right? When you watch a video and you can't have the sound on, it's really helpful to have captions. Fortunately for my audience, they're all just business owners. Majority of my audience is able to listen to the audio because they're inside their own business.
Sure.
If I was trying to get Bank of America people 9 to 5, I would have to have those SRT files on there so they can read the captions because they're not always able to listen to the fucking audio in the middle of a cubicle.
Yep.
So it's knowing your audience kind of thing. So I don't do as much of the written form. I kind of walked away. I've literally had people be like, are you going to write a book? I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, it would take me too long. I can make another 382 videos in the time it would take me to write a book, and I'll reach more people. Can you imagine if you had to read the things I say? Because I type like I talk.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I literally type like I talk. Listen here, fuckface. And people would be like, this guy's just an asshole. Tone and delivery are so important. Yeah. So video is the best medium for me.
Excellent. What would you tell 20-year-old Stu just starting that first gym out of the back of the truck?
Yeah, you know what?
Knowing what you know now.
I would tell him to do everything the exact same that he did. Don't change a thing. I would tell him to document. I would tell him, I wish I could have been recording this back then, you know, and having that footage of me going out there every morning at 6 a.m. in the morning, hauling out the shitty fucking Craigslist equipment I had.
Sure. It would have been a lot more expensive, and storage would have been pricey, but certainly there must have been a way to do it.
Yeah, like just document that process. I think being able to tell that story even better and show people. I found an old video, it's on Vimeo. I had one video production company come out when I was ESC Mobile Fitness. This was even before the boot camp.
Okay.
This would just go around
the ESC brand.
Yeah, the ESC Mobile Fitness, right? And I would have I'd have this videographer come out one time, and he filmed the boot camp I did at a local apartment complex we partnered with. And to watch that video now, it is absolutely amazing. Like, I'm trudging through a parking lot with all this equipment, and I'm like, you could tell I'm awkward on camera, and it
probably still had glasses.
I think I was wearing sunglasses probably, but it was really, it's really insightful. That's the one thing I wish I would have done more, is documenting that entire process and telling that story.
Interesting, very interesting. Why do you think, we brushed on it earlier, but why do you think it is that CrossFit took off the way that it did? I mean, is it the competitive, is it the fact that they boil down to a single score and you write it on the whiteboard and someone can win every single time, even beat the athlete that's better than them in 9 other things?
I think when a market's been untouched for so long, any new development is going to catch like wildfire. Like, taxis were the only thing in the market forever. Uber, I think the reason it exploded is because there had been no disruption to that. Like, Taxi Magic was an app that came out and it sucked. Like, there were some other like taxi hailing apps, but Uber shows up and it is such a disruptive thing. Obviously, it plays on the desire of more time and convenience, but I think it's also just because that market had not been touched. The gym market had Globo Gym, Gold's Gym, World's Gyms, Lifetime Fitness.
Well, the biggest thing at the time was probably P90X,
P90X
right?
and Insanity. Again, at home, convenience, do these kind of things. And I used to brand anchor when I'd explain CrossFit. I'd say it's like P90X, but instead of jumping around your living room like a fucking idiot, you get to work out with an awesome group of people, and you have a coach that actually teaches you how to use barbells and pull-up bars and all this stuff. I think it was just a huge disruption to something that had not been disrupted in a very, very long time. And I think you'll always give more of yourself in the presence of others. You'll never, ever break the social aspect of a group fitness class. I don't think we're all going to have VR goggles on and Oculus and just start working out at our houses. I think that shit's going to work for sitting courtside at a Cavs game or something like that instead, but not for fitness. These social experiments like bars and restaurants and nightlife and all that kind of stuff, I think we're safe with those social experiences. But
I'd rather watch the Cavs game on VR.
Yeah,
than where they are right now.
100%. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, maybe they actually make it so we win a few games. If we get Zion though, that would be great in the lottery. But listen, so yes, I think that's why. I think CrossFit just came out with, oh my god, I do my pull-ups. And then I run, and I come back, and I have to do strength work, and then I have to do cardio again. Sure. I think it was just that in that interaction, slap on some cool community shit, and that's the magic right there.
Excellent. And when you started when you first decided to become a CrossFit affiliate, can you maybe just talk about that decision to embrace the brand?
2006.
Because it wasn't a no-brainer back then. It was a no-brainer in 2012, 2013, 2014. But
I watched my first CrossFit video, and I instantly knew what I was going to do. I saw it, and I'm an early adopter. I knew I was going to open up a CrossFit gym. I saw my first video early 2006, if not late 2005. And I was doing an internship in Nashville, Tennessee at a Velocity Sports Performance. And this internship was for the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, to become what you call a CSCS, a Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach. Very highly held certification. And that gym was also at the time CrossFit Nashville. And I was the intern, 40 hours a week unpaid, and they're like, listen here, bitch, you're going to do some CrossFit classes with these other kids, these young kids.
Did you already know how to do a ring muscle up at this point?
No.
Okay.
It took me 3 months at that gym, like that first summer, bled from my wrist like stigmata, and eventually I remember taking the rings. I bought one pair of rings, I took them back to school, I still hadn't accomplished it. I hung them from the fucking the field goal post at our football field in college. Got my first ring muscle up inside of the stadium where nobody was around, and I just stayed up there because I wanted somebody to see me.
That you should have recorded.
I know, exactly. That would have been amazing. But yeah, no, I saw it and I watched this workout. It was them doing a bear complex. It was a barbell complex. Power clean to front squat to thruster, put it on your back squat it.
I've done that.
Behind the neck push press, get it back up. And I was like, I've never done that with a barbell in my life. Now again, back in the day, and I don't know, if you ever find my college Stu Brauer Facebook account, it's on deep lockdown. I should have majored in anabolic chemistry. I was about 215 pounds,
Oh, really?
Very big with a mohawk. And I was in the business of selling products that would give people a competitive advantage in the weight room back in the day. And so I was a much bigger human being than I am now.
Okay.
I looked like an idiot. My frame is that this is like 185 to 90 pounds right here. I'm not meant to have 215. Okay.
Yeah.
And a mohawk, I look like an asshole. But anyway, with the steroids and all that, that was my thing. Is I was as strong as I probably was ever going to be, or so I thought. And then I did one of these bear complexes. It crushed me.
Sure.
With 135 pounds, which to me back then, I could probably was curling that. Like it was nothing. And I said, oh my God, this is it. I'm sold. I can see instantly how if I did this with a bunch of my buddies, I would do this forever. And so I just dropped it. I stopped selling gear that day. I stopped taking drugs, and I instantly went all in on it. And that was 2006, man, and I never looked back. And that's the business model and everything. So.
That's cool. That's cool. You really had some vision there, because again, I think for folks listening, CrossFit is everywhere now, but 06,
you had to explain to people what it was, but that was also the allure to it. You knew somebody didn't. There's nothing's cooler in the world than when you have to tell somebody some knowledge that only you have. I've got this secret. Let me tell you about it. And now I think that's where it's a little bit tougher with the CrossFit realm. Everyone just already has a predisposed opinion about it that may be completely inaccurate, but it doesn't matter. Perception is fucking reality.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Why would someone opening a gym today, a micro gym today, why in your mind should they consider a CrossFit gym?
I would do it like this. I believe CrossFit gyms will continue to be successful if you stay true to the product. So if you can be there, you can be what I call an unapologetic CrossFit brand, meaning you offer CrossFit, you advertise it, you don't try to hide it, you don't run these 6-week challenges.
You own it. Yep.
Yeah, you own it 100%. I believe you can be successful. The economics have to be stronger. You need to charge appropriately. You need to do PT first, in my opinion, because you have to have multiple revenue streams, because you're not going to have that many people. Unfortunately, I don't care. Even New York City, Atlanta, Chicago, LA, those crazy dense markets, maybe, because you're going to be able to play volume. You could have 400 members at a location. But for the majority, and I call like Charlotte like a second tier metropolitan area, the density's not high enough here. I think it's going to be difficult to make a gym that's doing 70,000 a month.
Well, you've got 3. If you count this as a CrossFit gym, 3 within a 3-block radius 100%. Right here, and all 3 very good gyms.
Great, yeah, and so the saturation here, even in Charlotte, is decent. I don't even think it's too saturated. Atlanta is a crazy saturated market. There's more CrossFit gyms square footage in Atlanta than there is New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, Atlanta's nuts. Yeah. So I would tell them, sure, you can do it. You just better own it. And I believe the thing is you have to make it a modern day gym. The old warehouse thing is not going to fly. You have to make sure, like, if your floor is fucked up, it can't be fucked up. If your bathrooms are gross, they can't be gross. Like
you and Eric really changed the game here in Charlotte on that, because it was warehouses that didn't
100%.
Look like this, or stacks before Urban Movement.
100,000%. Like when Eric moved, I remember I was doing upfitting. I got here super early one day, and I'm looking at, this was all just like roughed in drywall, and Eric came up, and we were just shooting the shit and just talking about like what Stacks was doing, what I was doing, and how like it was just going to set the bar. And like you look at places like we have like Block. You heard of Block?
I have not.
Block is a small little micro gym. It opened up down next to Toast on Park Road in Dilworth.
Okay. Yeah.
You go in there, it's a little group fitness center, coffee shop in the front, and like again, like things like what Eric's done to the poshness of Stacks. And like Eric, you ask him now, he'll tell you this. The reason he has a spin studio is because I was putting a spin studio in here. Like we talked about it. He said, well, fuck it. Now I got to put spin bikes in there.
That's funny.
But like good brands will feed off each other's inspiration, and I truly see what everybody does. But I think for a CrossFit gym, like you can't, if a CrossFit gym wants to be a CrossFit gym, don't put a spin studio in. Don't put a coffee shop in. Make it a really nice, the best CrossFit experience you can do. Find out what everyone expects from a CrossFit experience, write that down, do it better than anybody, and then do the shit they're not expecting. That is a CrossFit gym that will survive. If you don't have that aspiration, I think you got to find the white space. Somewhere in between what Orange Theory does, high volume.
Well, that's my next question. Why shouldn't somebody open a CrossFit gym? Not exactly what
you're answering. Because they don't own the brand. You
Got
don't
it.
own the word CrossFit. Just like I didn't own the word CrossFit or the word South End. I literally was sitting here saying, look at me, Stu Brauer, look what I made. And I don't own any of that. If Greg Glassman was found to be the Jerry Sandusky of 2020, what would I do?
Papa John's. Right?
Yeah. Would I have to shut that? Would I have to take the name CrossFit off of it? Would I be like, how would that impact my brand? So I wanted to create something that nobody can fuck up Urban Movement for me, and I will, when this thing is successful, I'll be able to sit back and say, It wasn't Greg Glassman, it wasn't Rich Froning, it wasn't the word CrossFit. I built this motherfucker, and nobody is to blame for the wins and losses except for the business owner.
Sure, very interesting. Let's take that same theme and apply it to an athlete. Why should an athlete start CrossFit and why shouldn't they?
Again, because CrossFit is more of a blueberry muffin recipe than it is a piece of software. It is uniquely different every single place you go. I think if you find a location that really treats CrossFit as a GPP, what we call general physical preparation, it's great for an athlete. It will, because as an athlete, whether you're a long jumper, a football player, Muay Thai, whatever it is,
rock climber,
you're going to naturally have increased capacity around your sport, which requires you to have decreased capacity around everything else. The lineman in football is going to be very powerful and explosive and strong. He's going to lack cardiovascular endurance and anything outside of a 10-second window.
Probably not much mobility either.
Yeah, not a lot of mobility. You'd be surprised some of those college guys how loose their hip, how mobile their hips are. But so yes, I believe a general physical preparation program is great for any athlete to just bring up some of those deficits. However, if you were trying to be some of the best in the world at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or rock climbing or whatever it is, I think you just stick with that. I don't think doing CrossFit is your mainstay. Like maybe do it a couple days a week or something like that. The risk to reward ratio is not there. Like again, if you told me you're a rock climber, do not kip.
Yeah.
Don't be doing 75 kipping pull-ups in a wad because your shoulders are your bloodline. It's your lifeline. If you injure your shoulder, you're fucked. Same thing with some of these sports. I get the guys, dancers. Like everyone's always like, I want to get the Hornets dancers in my gym. I'm like, yeah, man. And if they do a box jump wrong and they pop an Achilles or they sprain their ankle fucking turning the corner on a 400 meter, their chance is fucking gone.
Yeah.
The risk to reward just, and then like Kobe Bryant, it was a really good interview. He is the best plyometrics coach in the world. He will not let him do more than 7 box jumps per set.
Wow.
Because box jumps are meant to be explosive. They're supposed to leave you, each rep should leave you winded and scared that you weren't going to make the jump. They're more like 1 rep maxes.
Okay.
But what do we turn them into the CrossFit? Cardio.
Yeah.
We turn them into cardio. Like, I'm just a little fucking bunny over here.
It's funny you say that. Eric and I were talking to Roman Harper trying to get him to come work out at the CrossFit
But not
gym.
a chance.
And he's like, fuck no, I tackle people for a living.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see fucking the Cam Newtons of the world going and working out and doing CrossFit classes. Oh, it'll make them a better athlete. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, and again, here's the level of knowledge the average CrossFit gym owner has. That's the one thing to it. If you're going to open a CrossFit gym or a fitness thing, make sure you're actually a fitness professional. Like, going and getting your level 1 is a great certification. I would recommend it for anyone who's even, like, I think you would love it, John. I think you would love the learning experience of taking a level 1.
I've thought a lot about that,
I think
actually.
you should. And for $1,000, there's no better learning experience, in my opinion. It does not entitle you to go and open a facility and then start dictating fitness to 100+ people.
Well, you've got a degree or two in this stuff.
I did. Like, again, this is all I've ever done. When I was 14 years old, being a skinny fucking ginger kid, trying to get laid in high school, I had to get in the weight room. I played lacrosse. I would get my ass trucked. So I would read about Mel Sif. I would read about, I would do starting strength. I researched everything. Super training, all the Arnold shit, from bodybuilding to powerlifting, Mark Ripito, everything in between. I became a disciple and a student of it. So people ask, how long have you been doing this? I'm like, since I was 15 years old, and I'm 33 now. I considered that entire time part of my educational process. School, like my 5 years of college, because I took a victory lap and got my degree.
I took 6.
Yeah,
I wasn't a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah. So actually, I was partying in college more than I was learning. So but yeah, that would be my recommendation. If you're not going to open one, it's because you want control of your brand, and you do not have that with CrossFit.
Cool. So are you following the changes and kind of the drama going on around the games with the affiliate events, the layoffs, all of that? Can you comment on that, or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I just did a huge, awesome response video. Craig Ritchie, who is a very famous YouTube vlogger, and Greg Glassman sat down and had an interview where Craig drilled Glassman on these changes about going away from the sport of CrossFit to this CrossFit health. So those of your listeners who are not aware, CrossFit, obviously, if you guys are thinking of it, you think of this kind of very competitive, high-end shirtlet, like this very raw, aggressive sport and fitness program. And now if you go to CrossFit.com's website, you see an old man deadlifting jugs of water inside of a living room that looks like it's off the set of Married with Children.
Sure.
And so they're really trying to dial back into health. They fired a lot of the media staff for the games. They want to downscale the games, and here's why. The CrossFit as a company has several core focuses. 2 of them are profitability and increased health. The games did neither. The games were not profitable, and they did
Really?
not increase anybody's health. When you compete at the games, it is well aware you are not healthier, you are only fitter. You are actually less healthy as a competitor. So they're not profitable by any means of the imagination. And 70% of the income, or 70% of the expenses, discretionary. Shit that's not required, just as a nice to have, makes for a fun experience.
Well, it's interesting. There's a trade-off, and I think a lot about, because it feels like from the outside looking in, what Glassman is also saying is, I don't want to discourage people from the health aspects. And when they see somebody overhead squatting 315 pounds,
they say, I can't do that.
I can't possibly do that, which is very similar. And I want you to speak a little bit about that, because I've heard similar reasoning in some of the changes you've made at Urban. But the flip side of that is my wife, who doesn't care about fitness whatsoever, or going into a gym and that type of thing. She loves watching the games because she gets to see these insane things. So can the two coexist?
I believe so. I believe, again, what you can't do now, they are not rebranding CrossFit. They are having to walk back because they did dual branding. Right? It's like there's football and there's the NFL.
But it has the same name, so it confuses the fuck out of everybody.
Again, going back to this thing, anyone can play football. 0.0001% go to the NFL, right? But then you have CrossFit. Anyone can do CrossFit. Oh, and CrossFit's also this annual sport that we do. So that dual branding, I think, really got, kind of fucked them, so they're having to backtrack a little bit. I believe that when you look at the game, according to Glassman in that interview, the games became the sideshow, the non-profitable sideshow that wasn't pursuing the mission of making people healthier. The sideshow will still exist. Your wife will still be able to watch the games. However, they're going to leave it to those with the entrepreneurial spirit and the desire to push the games. So when they got rid of regionals, guess what happened? 7 companies were formed in a matter of months of people who were opportunistic entrepreneurs. They're like, I could put on this event. I would love to do it. And they go ahead and they create a company or co-op, and they go and petition and they pitch it to CrossFit, and then boom, there's the Mid-Atlantic, sanction or whatever.
Is Rogue playing in this space as well? Because it seems like a natural extension for them to kind of pick up part of that.
I think, obviously with all the work they've done, hauling equipment out and setting up for it, they probably learned a ton. I know they're doing the Rogue Invitational at the Arnold. I'm not sure. My guess is they would just stay niched down, because their business is a very low margin business anyway. It's tough, man. Like fucking having all that inventory. They've got the 2 warehouse. They got 2 locations in the U.S. and they opened that one up in Amsterdam. I think it's Amsterdam in the U.K.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they're wanting to fucking pile on event hosting and it's that kind of thing. They just want
their name attached to like
pay us and we'll
ESPN.
bring out the equipment kind of scenario. I think those will still exist. However, though, here's the nice thing, though, the line in the sand. You and me have mutual friends that are on this bubble of, I might maybe one day possibly make it to the regionals or whatever level, maybe on a team or as a person, right? Like, I really like the fact that this change has drawn that line in the sand so thick to sit down, Sally, you have a 9-to-5 job working at Bank of America. There is no way in hell you are ever going to touch the fucking podium, because everyone who's going to touch the podium, their 9-to-5 job is training. You want to do this so bad, quit your fucking job at Bank of America and create a 30 for 30 story right here and right fucking now and train full time for the games. Well, I can't do that. Then shut the fuck up. You have a fitness program in front of you. Opt into that. You are not an athlete. I hate using this word athlete on people, and I used to use it back in the day with you and everyone else. And then I looked around and I had people who would cry after workouts. Regular people who did not show up at a CrossFit South End's door saying, hi, my name is Sally and I would love to learn how to snatch and be competitive. And they just said, I'm here because I heard it's a great workout. And then fast forward 6 months and they're drinking the Kool-Aid, just they're doing keg stands with it. And I have women, girls and men, who are crying in my office after a bad performance on a random Tuesday workout. Because they didn't PR or another girl beat them or something.
That's always been so silly to me. My theory has always been, I don't give a fuck about being able to do a snatch. I do care about muscle. There's certain moves that I like, but it's all about looking better naked.
Let's
be honest.
That's all I want to do is be able to look better naked, be able to beat up my daughter's boyfriends, and I just want to enjoy the workout. But when the workout causes more stress in my life because I didn't beat somebody in Germany or something like that, or the other dude in class got a higher score than me, like fuck off.
I love when guys in the class that might be a little,
yeah.
you know, haven't been doing it as long as I, and they beat me. Like,
yeah.
that's great. And I love when there's a guy ahead of me and I can catch him.
You need a rabbit.
But you getting upset about it, that's some people just are that way.
Yeah, so that was, you know, one of the things I just really think taking the competitive aspect and drawing that big line in the sand will take some people and be like, well, all right, I guess this is more realistic for it not to happen, but I can still enjoy it just like you and me can.
Yeah.
You and me can join a pickup basketball league and be super competitive about basketball, but we realize we're not going to the NFL.
Sure. Very interesting.
Or NBA, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. For someone new to exercise, what are the 2 or 3 things that they need to get right to get the most out of their journey? And obviously people are different, but high level for 100%. The listeners that maybe are just getting motivated by hearing this from you, like what are the 2 or 3 things they need to keep in mind?
From a fitness perspective, I think it's dialing in exactly what it is you're looking to accomplish. If you're like, I'm just trying to lose this 20 pounds and look good naked like me and John were just talking about, I think that puts you, I think that puts you in a better range of going to an Orange Theory. Right? I believe in 2 kind of avatars of people who are looking to get, there's starter fitness. I'm looking to get started with fitness. I used to do it way back in the day, or I've never done it, but I need to get started. And then there's evolve my fitness. People who are currently doing some version of fitness and they want to take it to the next level. Those are really the only 2 avatars of prospects or clients in my brain. If you are listening to this and you were...
Where would you put me? Because I was 35 when I joined you, and I had become a fat fuck, and I had cured myself through a paleo diet.
Yeah,
and
I would say you were in starter
fitness. And I wanted... But I worked out all along, but I wanted to get, you know, I really wanted to push it forward.
If you had been still going to the YMCA and doing some bicep curls and bench pressing, and you were still
That's
doing
what I was doing, maybe an insanity workout but I become fat fuck because I lost my metabolism at 35.
Then I would still put you in Evolve My Fitness, because the conversation I have to have with you is, here's what you're doing now, what's called at the VCR, right? That's the DVD, and then here's what we've got. This is fucking Netflix 4K streaming, okay? And I just had to show you that we were going to evolve your fitness. Versus starter fitness, I need to make sure that intimidation stays very low during your first day experience and success stays very high. Okay. The worst thing you see what happened with a lot of these guys, if you ever go to a CrossFit gym, this happens to you, I want you to give me a call, give me the name of the gym so I can publicly shame them. But the worst thing that ever happens in the CrossFit gym is when someone first comes in for a class and the coach is like, oh, I'm going to scale this workout for you. Here's a barbell with X amount of weight on it. Or here's the med ball, or here's the kettlebell. And then halfway during the workout, that coach has to go, ooh, you know what, let's take some of those weights off. Let's get you a lighter med ball. The reason that person didn't walk into your gym 6 months ago, it's not that they didn't know you exist. They know fully well you exist. They were scared that this exact scenario would play out. I'm not fit enough to do the thing. So I coach my guys here.
Yeah, they're not coming back.
No, I mean, and no, some people feed off that. Like,
some do. Some do.
Like Jocko Willnick kind of guys are going to fucking feed off that thing. Most people, that's going to be like, this is why I didn't come in here. That's a very embarrassing moment. So what
and I think more so for women than men, probably.
Probably, yeah. But there are some guys that have egos like crazy. Like you do that to them, and they're not going to come back because now they're pissed. You made me look like a pussy.
Yeah.
So I tell my guys, build them up. That's what I've really prided myself is always, I don't give a fuck about your, like, you're here for workout, guess what? The sweat towels I offer, those are optional, motherfucker. The coaching isn't.
Yeah, no, it's funny because whenever a coach corrects me, and I've been at the gym for a long time and know everybody there, and when they correct me, they're almost apologetic. So I make sure that I thank them every single 100%. Time. Like, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
They're so intimidated to do it. And again, I think that comes down to there are a lot of coaches, and I'm not speaking of any of the guys over because I know the guys over at Sex, but there's a lot of coaches that don't feel very confident in what they know.
Sure.
I am such an unhealthy level of cocky, like confident in what I know fitness-wise. That I have no problem walking in. You can tell me he's a fucking cardiac surgeon who went to school, and I'll be like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna let him know that his fucking hip needs to get below the knee, blah blah blah, and I've got no problem doing it. And I think having that confidence in coaches and the owners spitting that confidence down onto their staff really helps.
Yep. Now this is one you had a great chalkboard in the bathroom at CrossFit South End. It showed the inverse relationship between how good you look naked and how much shit you stuff in your face.
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
Can you talk about a little bit about the relationship of diet to exercise?
We generally see the beginner gains. Most people who get into a really good fitness program, 6 months, sometimes 12 months, depending on the individual, they're just seeing gains, results, this, I feel better, I look better, and then eventually it comes to a halt because you cannot out-train the fork. I also think the reason why is because there are a lot of people like, hey, you're going to be so proud of me, I made this awesome fitness change. I'm like, oh man, you look great. Like, what are you doing? I'm working out. That's 1 hour of the day. That's 4% of the week if you're working out 3 times a week, right?
and then you're fucking stuffing your face with
Correct.
cheese fries.
You haven't really made a change. You just decided to put yourself in a level of discomfort for an hour that makes you feel like you did. Now, Matt Dangler, I don't know if you know him, he's local here in Charlotte. He was RXRD. He's a local dietitian, and he works with a lot of CrossFit gyms in the area. I'm pretty sure Stats has had him over to do a seminar.
Maybe I have met him over there now.
Good dude. He also works out at South Charlotte CrossFit. Awesome guy. He's from Rochester. Me and Matt will talk because he does all of our work over here. And it's really interesting because I tease Matt. I'm like, Matt, your job is always going to suck to people. Like, I'm the fitness delivery guy. This is sexy. This is fun. There's sports bras. There's pull-ups. There's barbells.
Sweat.
There's nothing sexy and fun about eating a carrot, Matt. You suck. Like, and we
joke. My kale salad is
exactly.
delicious.
Yeah. Like, we go back and forth. But the people that take nutrition very seriously reap the rewards for it. They look better naked. They perform better. It's just a lot of people don't want to be that douche. They don't want to be the guy at work when everyone's going to TGI Fridays for lunch and getting burgers, and they're asking if they can get theirs in a lettuce wrap because they feel awkward.
I did a 73-hour fast earlier this week, and you should have seen the looks I got from one of my clients. They asked me to go grab cocktails. They asked me to go grab lunch. And I'm like, no, I'm fasting. Like, motherfucker, are you religious? What is this?
Exactly. Yeah. So Ramadan. Yeah, exactly. So what's really interesting too is the clients or the people that have that fucking in their system, they just don't care. Like, when I walk around with that vlogging camera and I'm walking through the grocery store and I'm doing this, like, the amount of, like, fuck it you have to have in your system to make, like, that people all think you're a huge douchebag for filming yourself in the grocery store or wherever I'm at, you just have to have it. And when you get to that place where you truly do not care what other people think, like, literally it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't care what my wife thinks of me. I don't care what my mom thinks of me. I don't care what my sister, Isaac, nobody. And when you get to that place, it allows you to do a lot of shit you truly want to do.
People who do give a fuck might not like people who don't give a fuck, but you're going to work for one of them one day.
Oh, 100%. And I'll tell you this right now, even the people that talk some shit, you inspire the fuck out of them. And they're envious of what your level of dedication. And they might sit there drinking their cocktail like, fucking pussies, not having any drinks with us. But, like, I guarantee you, they're going to go home a little depressed at the end of the night thinking, man, I wish I could have fucking done that. So it's, the nutrition is the part, I think, the real divider. And I'm not a huge, like, again, there's health benefits, or like there's genetic benefits. I'm an ectomorph. There's ecto, meso, and endo.
So you need a high carb diet.
Correct. So Chipotle for me, like I was talking about 5 days a week, or Quick Trip. I eat Quick Trip breakfast bowls, probably 6 days a week. I do Project Lean Nation, right? So, I mean, I eat a lot, even though I only work out 3 days a week, just to maintain this, and my body fat's never probably going to go above 12%.
That's awesome.
And it's a genetic thing, which is great, good, grand. But no, I find that I eat healthier now as I get older. It's because of work. I have a higher output at work. I get up I start working at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm in bed by 10, and that's my daily thing now. And I need good fuel to make my business grind.
So have you done this Aura Ring thing? Yeah,
no.
It's a fitness ring, and it's really geared towards tracking your sleep.
Really?
And so it gives you, at the beginning of every day, I log onto the app and I pull it up, and it shows me how well I slept, the stages of sleep.
You hit like REM and all that kind of stuff?
It does REM, deep sleep, it does your heart rate variability.
HRV is really interesting
HRV,
stuff.
And it gives you a score. And honestly, Stu, the days that it tells me not to work out, I don't work out anymore because it's so intelligent.
Yeah.
I live by this thing, but it's interesting because it starts telling you when to go to bed.
That's yeah.
Like it just learns your patterns and says you need to go to bed by 8:45 tonight.
That is dope. Yeah, I'm definitely have to look into that.
Yeah, I'll put for folks listening. I'll put the Aura Ring link in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, so the one interesting thing that I've noticed is for whatever reason, in the popular imagination, paleo and CrossFit are associated with each other, but my experience has been almost nobody actually follows a paleo diet. And I do. I've been religious for 5 years about it, but most people don't. Why do you think the association exists, and is it because it tends to turn into a low carb diet, and that's just hard for people?
So you got to turn back the history pages. So this is being around from 06 in the CrossFit. So back in the day, the Zone Diet, which is written by Barry Sears, Dr. Barry Sears wrote the Zone Diet, and the Zone Diet had blocks. So protein, carbs, and fats are worth certain blocks, and then certain foods are worth blocks, and there was this kind of conversion process. But it allowed for starchy carbs, allowed for whatever, but in certain quantities. And then comes Rob Wolf. Rob Wolf is like one of the biggest, like Mark Sisson in the Daily
Those
Apple.
were the 2 books that I read that got me on my journey.
So Mark's
very interesting guys.
And yeah, it's very interesting. Mark and Rob Wolf became, back in the day, very, early YouTube, early all that stuff, became the content creators on their websites and blogs about the paleo diet, low carb, which the paleo diet becomes more of a ketogenic diet, is what essentially it becomes. And then Rob Wolf really got into IF, intermittent fasting, which we all intermittent fast, every single day while we sleep. Every day we intermittent fast.
They're just pushing breakfast back to lunch.
Correct. Yeah. Now, there was a fallout. It was called the Black Box Summit in 2009 or 2008. So you had Rob Wolf, you had Greg Everett, who was heading up all the Olympic weightlifting.
So you probably didn't have Dave Asprey at this point.
No,
he came along a little later.
No. These are all the guys that were the CrossFit SMEs, the subject matter experts. And there was this event. Dave Castro ends up getting into a shouting match with all these other guys that were the current SMEs, and they all kind of went their own direction. And it was this big breakup called the Black Box Summit. It was the last time they ever had it. And Rob Wolf kind of left CrossFit and went his route. Okay. But his popularity at paleo, because he published the Paleo Solution, got very, very popular. The zone diet, the hardest thing for them, CrossFit still pushes it. Like, they still talk about it. But the conversions, it's kind of like Weight Watchers. The conversions were just too much work, like for these blocks they had for your different macros of protein, carbs, and fat. So I think the paleo diet was simple. There was no measuring, what we call WHAM, weigh and measure. There was none of that. It was just meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. And it was very easy. Like, even the nutritional seminar that I gave once a month, every month for 5+ years at CrossFit Southland before before I brought in the dietitian. Hey Stu, what should I have for breakfast? Meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. Well, but what about a workout? Meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. Like, it was very easy to follow. But then the problem with paleo is that because there was no quantity measurements to it, people were like, well, you said nuts, I'm gonna eat an entire box of almonds. Yeah. And then they're so calorically
or worse,
dense.
Macadamias, which are delicious, and
but just super calorically
quickly
dense.
Gets to 1,500 calories. Yeah.
So there is faults on both sides, but I think paleo, because it was very, Paleolithic, caveman, and CrossFit was very raw. Yeah. I think it just went together really well. And it is. I do think it's a great starting point that you can get a lot of people to start dieting with. The only problem is the zone is probably best, because the zone will at least take the starchy carbs people already eat and just make it less. Like, sure. If John Espy is on a diet of nothing but Budweiser and Big Macs, I can help you lose weight just by cutting down the amount of Budweiser and Big Macs that you eat, just by changing quantity.
Just pure caloric restriction.
100%. I can just change quantity. Paleo is 100% talking about changing quality.
Yeah, and then it gets into changing hormones and the things that cause hunger.
Correct, but at the superficial level that 99% of people are looking at, it's just getting you to eat higher quality foods. Now for dudes, so that means I can just take a bunch of wings, grill them on and make a really nice paleo ranch kind of substitute or whatever, ranch rub or something like that, and I can eat that? Yes. Yeah. And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm down with paleo. I think dudes gravitate to it a lot more because of the meat and vegetable kind of scenario that is very...
It embraces bacon as long as it's sulfite-free.
Yeah, exactly.
Or nitrite-free.
Yeah. So I think that's why it was. It was just a very simple prescription versus what CrossFit really wanted to push, which was the zone diet.
Yep. Very interesting. Thank you for that. I've always wondered because again, the two.
Put into Google, you'll love this because you're a historian of this stuff. Put in the Black Box Summit CrossFit and just read the shit show threads that are out there.
I will look that up and I will put that in the show notes as well. But now along the same theme, how do you rank sleep, stress management, nutrition, supplements, and exercise when you think about this? And I get that it's different for everybody.
Depending on your age, younger, I put sleep, a little bit less, you can rejuvenate a little quicker. At my age right now, for me, I can speak to me personally, sleep is number one. A lot of people give me shit because I'll post up on Instagram or my blog that I'm literally here generally by 3 a.m. starting to work. And like,
I've gotten emails and texts from you at 4 in the morning. Exactly, it kind of freaks me out. I get up early, but not that early.
but I still get in. If I get in 6 hours, 6 hours is my magic window. If I get 7 or 8, I'm groggier throughout the day.
Really?
If I get 5 or less, I'm dog shit in about a little less than 10 hours. I'll be dog shit. So 6 is my sweet spot. So I prioritize sleep. I prioritize that. For me, I will eat healthy 5 days a week. I will eat healthy 5 days a week. So I more likely that I will work out, so I prioritize the actual working out part of it. The problem is that working out requires me to not work on the other business or not to be, I have to be somewhere, whereas I can eat and do my business stuff at the same time. And then I go nutrition after that. And then supplements are the very last thing. I think.
What about stress management? Where do you put that in? You probably have very strong adrenal glands, just knowing your personality.
Correct. I think so, but I also so when I talk about that booster board, riding that, like my wife, if I'm in a bad mood, like what we have, I had a client that I've been working on a compensation plan for a client for about a month. They already paid for it. I still made my money on it, but then they decided to sell the business. Anyway, and I should not have been emotional about it, but I was. I was like, oh my God, they're why? So whatever. I was like, she's like, you're in a bad mood, go ride the booster board. I went for a 1 hour ride through the city on my booster board. I came back, I was like a brand new man.
A walk does that for me.
Yeah.
I'll just go out and walk for fucking 2 hours.
It's like a lot of people talk now, especially high-level C-suite and entrepreneurs, talk about sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah.
Where you go and you lie and
they're opening one around the corner for me. I can't wait. This is where they do like 4,200 pounds of Epsom salts and they black it out.
Yeah.
This is my next
thing.
Dude,
let's do this. Let's you and me both go, and I want to vlog it because I want to talk about it. I think that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
I've never done it, but I'm like, that's like the booster board riding for me is mine. And also, I'll be honest, like when I get to sit down and like it's early in the morning, there's no one in this building, it's 3 a.m. and I'm just editing, that is so zen for me. Yeah. It's super relaxing to sit here and edit a vlog. I just really enjoy it.
So you don't have to really pay a lot of attention to stress management.
I don't think so. It's baked into my routine. Yeah, it's baked.
Do you get a lot of clients who you think they've got issues with that? Because you've had a lot of CEOs and that.
So it's normally the drink becomes alcohol. I can see it there. Like if drinking's a huge issue. Even if like smoking pot, like stuff like when I talk to someone and I hear about their ways to relieve stress and it's normally a chemical thing, I'm okay with it. I get it. I'll eat it.
It's a good shortcut in some cases.
100%. I'm
big on the CBD oil lately. That's been mine.
I just came back. It's literally in my bag right now. I've got a bunch of gummies I got from this dispensary when I was in San Jose, and if I know my brain is turning, I'll take one of those just to depress my brain and make sure that I sleep. So I can understand that, but essentially it's what does it interfere with? Stress is okay. Fitness causes stress. Yeah. Building a business causes stress.
Traumatic stressors are okay.
Correct.
But when it becomes a constant.
And when it's impacting the other things, like if my stress from something else was impacting the kid, my wife, my business, whatever it is, then your stress handler needs to be altered. Like, oh no, I handle my stress well. Well, apparently not. Because you just had a nervous breakdown in that meeting we just had about something that happened to you 2 weeks ago. Yeah. If you're not handling it well, that stress should have been flushed out.
Well, it's funny. So working out has always been the stress outlet for me, but it's become not enough. And it's funny because I have a wellness journal where I just track everything about how I'm doing.
Sure.
And that could be, did I spend time in the sauna? How much time did I spend meditating? How did I eat? How many hours did I fast? What was the workout? All of that. And recently I was just being a total fucking asshole to Chrissy, to the boys. My stress level was through the roof. And the problem for me is I can manage stress, so I didn't really even realize it. And I looked at my wellness log and I was like, I haven't meditated today. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna meditate for 10 minutes. So I pulled up my Calm app, did a guided meditation. I can't even explain the difference in my body coming out of that for 10 minutes. But for me, I prioritize that last 100%. Among everything, but it affects things in a
1,000%. And again, like refueling the brain, the soul, the body, the mind, whatever you want to think of it as, is so important, especially, again, if you look at your car or your body as a vehicle, a high-performing race car, you just can't piss in the gas tank. Yeah. You have got to keep refueling. And everyone's just going to have a different refueling station and a method of delivering that.
Yep, very interesting. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. You're probably going to think it's a stupid exercise, but I like these kind of things. So I only get one exercise to do for some period of time. I'm going to give you a couple of pairs, and I want you to kind of tell me how you think about one exercise versus the other. Let's do it. So, back squat versus front squat.
Front squat, that's the only squat we do when we rewrote the programming code for urban movement. We got rid of all back squats.
Is that why Torito isn't working out here anymore?
Yeah. And we still do it. It's a load that you can pick up and put overhead, but front squat, because if we look at the functionality of it, the front squat has more functionality. Anything you're generally have to hold on to it on the front. Very few things you're going to put on your back, and the back squat is more for a posterior development, and you can complement that with deadlifts and swings and things like that. So front squat.
Interesting. Back squat versus deadlift.
I would go ahead from there, and I would probably say, and in that scenario, I'd probably say back squat. I'd probably say back squat.
It's a more functional lift in your mind there.
I just because getting off the G, 100%. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think so. And I think because the deadlift appears, and so you have to pick things up all the time. Every time you pick up your keys, that's a deadlift.
Yeah.
I would rather probably perform the squat that's probably not happening as much.
Interesting. Bench press versus strict press.
Strict press. And it's funny, you talk about the functionality of the bench press. When are you ever going to lie flat on your back and press something horizontally? But you're probably going to press something overhead, whether it's your kid or whatever. But honestly, where it is the diagonal. That's the one plane of motion we never fuck with.
Sure.
We go here, we go straight out here horizontally. We never really fuck with diagonal. Like landmine pressing is one of my favorite things to do. It just takes up too much space.
Is that one where I take the barbell and
Correct.
I love that lift.
Yes.
I did that in London at the unit UN1T.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing lift that I never do.
Yeah, because it's a diagonal plane.
Yeah.
It's really difficult, but this is realistic. Everything you're going to reach for most of it is not directly over your shoulder.
Sure.
It's out here in this diagonal plane somewhere. So, but I would say strict press.
Kettlebell swings versus burpees.
I would say the kettlebell swing. Being able to move a large distance, a long load, and do it quickly. The burpee's great. So when Brad and the Passport guys were still working out here, we still had that at corporate account. I told them one day, I was like, I'm never doing another regular burpee again. And they're like, what? I'm like, every burpee I do is going to be a push-up burpee. And I have kept that since 2017. All I do are push-up burpees. I do a perfect push-up. The amount of push-ups I can, like my push-up ability, and this is something I never really test unless Deuce puts something up on the workout, I would never know, is through the roof. And I'm just as fast doing a push-up burpee as anybody else is doing a regular burpee at this point. I get off the ground so damn quick, but at the same time, I'm getting 2 exercises for the price of 1.
So you like the kettlebell swing better because of the posterior chain?
I like the kettlebell swing better because most burpees are just a fall and this kind of like downward dog sprawl.
Okay.
Yeah, when I just think of the burpee, it's generally, the movement just looks so shit for most time, but if you were like, if it was a strict push-up burpee, I'd put that in there, but otherwise, I think the kettlebell swing just has way more functionality to it.
Yeah, an interesting side note, I did just some extra credit on every Sunday, I did a kettlebell progression for about 6 weeks, and it changed the game for everything else about my fitness. Now, I don't know if there were other things going on, but even the coaches over at Stacks were like, what the hell have you been doing? And I'm like, I've been taking a 100-pound kettlebell and swinging it as many times as I can in an hour.
I mean, like, especially if you go overhead and you lock it out, the amount of stability you need to lock that bell out overhead. I mean, even if you go Russian style, it's I think from a posterior chain and a hip hinging perspective, the kettlebell is, you can't beat it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I think the single lift that I wish I would do more, but I never do it, is the Turkish get up. I feel like it's the most functional thing in fitness and the best for looking better.
Lee, right?
Yes.
Lee, every Tuesday, Thursday, Lee is in here. He does his running drills, he does some ankle mobility, and he does Turkish get-ups for an hour and a half.
I wish I could. I'm too fucking impatient.
Yeah, it's a slow, patient.
I'll go do some push press instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something's got some umph to it.
Handstand push-up versus pull-up.
Pull-up, 100%. The handstand push-up, and generally, again, and I'm thinking like if I get my head down to the ground, so let's say my hands are here, my head's there. It's not always full range of motion. Again, like even a press, like getting out here, getting full range of motion here. So no, I would say a pull-up.
And what do you think about butterfly versus kipping versus straight?
So what I do now, and I started doing this even at CrossFit South, and I started messing around. I wanted to take the kip out of it almost permanently. Like I want that kip. If I were to look at a kipping pull-up, I want 80% to be a strict pull, and just 20% is just a little nice hollow body C kip, not a butterfly. The thing I don't like about the butterfly, you break all the angles of the lower body when those should be rigid and strict as fuck. And the only reason the butterfly exists is to go faster. And then a lot of guys see Rich Froning doing it and how they want to do it, and I'm like, you would look better naked, and you would have safer, healthier shoulders if you could go ahead and rep out 10 strict or minimal C-kip pull-ups versus, there's a video of Dan Bailey doing kipping pull-ups back before Dan Bailey knew how to kip, and there's another one of Miko Salo doing the same thing. And you saw these guys, and it's like, it almost looked like they were doing them strict. They had a little bit of rhythm going to it.
Okay.
And it was absolutely fucking incredible to watch them rank out 35,
What are the
plus.
names?
So Miko Salo, he's probably the original one. Here is Miko Salo. He was, he won the CrossFit Games in 2009.
Okay. So Miko Salo.
He's doing these, put in here Miko Salo kipping pull-ups, and it's gonna be a video from like 2009, 2010. And it's the guys that CrossFit Journal is talking about, like, he doesn't even know how to kip. That guy is literally putting in like this small little baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well.
So pull up 100 times for me, okay. And then if you're gonna be able to kip, you should be able to kip underhand grip as well. Okay. So when I train myself butterfly, I also train the butterfly underhand grip as well.
Interesting, I've not done that.
Because then what happens here is you're always going pronated. All right, pronated is an overhand grip for everyone listening. Supine is where we're underhand gripping. This underhand grip requires more external rotation of the shoulder. Okay. So you should have the same amount of...
Actually, when I had my shoulder injury, I think you and Julie had me doing
underhand grip.
Now that you mentioned
because it's a safer position, or at least it should be.
Yeah. Same thing as a reverse grip push-up press.
Yeah. Your reverse grip, like people that can do push-ups all day here, but the second they turn their hands 180 here, they can't do one. Insane.
Fascinating. So this one I may have to fight you on because I think we're going to disagree, but I'll call it fan bike because there's so many fucking variants of them now. I don't want to call it assault bike anymore versus rower.
Yeah. Oh man, John loves the bike. You know what? I would probably say the rower only because I like the horizontal pulling motion of it, and I think there's more technique needed in a rower. Like you watch,
which is why I don't like it.
Correct, yeah. So like you can always watch people rowing and be like, holy shit, that guy's never been taught how to row. That's not the case on a bike. Yeah. On a bike, you just put your head down and go. Yeah. You know. So
and for folks listening, the two main things. My form sucks on the rower, but Stu taught me two things that I see so many people get wrong. Treat it like a squat, and so don't go deeper than you would go into a squat.
More like treat it like a deadlift. Think of it as like pulling the deadlift off the floor. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is keeping your knees out a little bit.
Keep your knees out. Don't let them kiss like you got to take a piss. Like an international sign for after to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Absolutely. I do love my assault bike. I recently hit 20 calories in 12 seconds. So. But no technique is required. No, you just fucking be a bear and just go to town and explode on it.
So this is the last one, and this one I'm really fascinated on because I don't really have a read on it, but box jump versus wall balls.
Yeah, that's a great one. You know, I would honestly probably say the wall ball from a functionality, again, front squatting, pressing overhead, the athleticness to just catch something, I think is probably good. It's a three-dimensional kind of piece in that regard versus the box jump. There's a level of accuracy, kind of, but it's, you know, there are some people like step-ups are generally looked at as a scaled version of a box jump. If you do a step up right, where you plant one foot up on the box and you extend the leg of the other one, you do not allow yourself to push off of that leg that's still attached to the floor. It feels like a pistol. It feels very difficult. I will probably 75% of the time when there's box jumps, I do step ups. Okay. Now again, my fitness goals are way different than they were back in the day. I'm trying to go fast. But my quads and everything are so sore from doing however many single leg step ups where I'm literally only using that one quad to get on up there. So in the box jump, again, in just fitness, it's less explosive, it's more cardiovascular. Yeah. I would probably rather see someone do a wall ball.
Interesting. I'm glad you said that because it favors tall guys.
Yeah, of course.
I like wall balls better.
100%. 100%.
Great. Well, so you mentioned Chipotle. What style of dieting is your favorite, both for you and for your clients? Because obviously they're different.
If I had to pick, it would probably be lower carb, high protein, moderate fat. Yeah. Chipotle lends itself there well with the bowl, things of that nature. And even, it's so funny, 2019 they rolled out the keto bowl, and they have the South Beach bowl, whatever.
That I order what would be called the keto bowl.
Anyway,
and it's great because they use grass-fed beef and hormone-free beef.
So I would say a lower carb diet, because again, fat is not why people are fat. An excess amount of carbohydrates are why we are fat. Carbs are delicious, I get it. But I would probably go with more of a paleo ketogenic style diet. But
you're a big fan of the cheat day, right?
I'm a huge fan of it. I'm a huge fan of it because I believe we're one of the only species that have sex for pleasure, we eat for taste. One of the very few. And you're not gonna, like, there are very few people who are Zen Buddhists, skilled enough mentally to be like, I don't care how good pizza is, I don't need any. I also think it's really good not to take yourself so seriously. If you're trying to go to the Olympics, sure, right? If you're fucking, JJ Watt, sure. Like, I get it. Like, your body is a temple because it makes you money and a living. It's what your legacy will be on. For the rest of us, I think you work very hard, just like you should at work. A lot of people listen to this or work for an amazing company, maybe, or maybe not an amazing company, and you're a really good employee while you're there 9 to 5, and then the weekends, you relax, you do you. And I think fitness and I think food should all be the same way. I think there's a happy medium, and it all depends though. If you're young and trying to make a competitive CrossFit score, or you're trying to do this or that physically, I want to do the Boston Marathon, then yeah, you've got to go all in at that particular time of your life. But for the average person, I would say something that is going to be a little bit lower carb, not restrictive carb, not going completely ketogenic.
Yeah.
Right? Not
yeah, for you low carb is 100 to 150 grams. You consider low, if I recall.
For me, yeah. For me, I would consider that. It depends on the individual. It depends on how many carbs they were having ahead of time, too. That's the other thing, too, is when people are like, oh, I'm doing keto. I'm like, oh, well, what was your carb intake previously? They're like, I don't even know. I'm like, well, then how many carbs are you doing now? Like 50? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that'll get you there. But like, you're probably going to be less successful. If your previous carb intake was 300 and you're trying 50 this week, my bet is you make it to Thursday and you fucking go ape shit on a pie.
Well, the most compelling argument along those lines I've ever seen was Simon, who I don't know if he's still a client.
He moved to Dallas.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
so he's a beast for those who don't know him. But Simon was already a beast. And then I remember he turned into like Hugh Jackman type of body, and you said, I doubled his carbs for him.
Yeah. So we took Simon, and Simon started doing nutritional coaching with us, and because we needed to know where he had been previously, and that dictates everything, just like the squat cycle. John, I want you to add 50 pounds on my back squat. The first question you probably ask me is, okay, what are you currently squatting? I need a baseline. I need to know where you're currently at. Same thing with nutrition. And for him, we actually had to add carbohydrates because he had been underfed. And that was what shredded.
But he had to drop to 8% body fat. It was ungodly.
It was shredded. Absolutely killed it. Now, guess what though? When Simon took the foot off the gas pedal on his nutrition, his body, and Simon's another one who his body would have been better served not kipping. And, I've got no problem saying that. I'd say that Simon, he had shoulder surgery because of a slap tear due to kipping pull-ups and not really developing enough of the prerequisite scapular strength before doing high volume butterfly pull-ups. Anyway, he has a slap tear in his shoulder.
Oh no!
And he couldn't maintain, and his body fat percent came right back up. When people fight to get 8% that are not there naturally, you realize that is a career fight. It's not like you get there one day and now you're good. Yeah. Right? It is. You are going to have to fight that, especially if you're a male.
Well, 8% without steroids is very difficult. It's a very unnatural.
Correct. Yeah, your body is going to be really happy in the low double digits. Yeah. Very happy in the low double digits.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, how does one go about thinking through the right mix of stretching, mobility, endurance, quickness, strength, coordination when they create a fitness plan? Because for me, I'm the type, as you know, and you've pointed this out, I'm very slow twitch muscle. So you put me on a bench press, you put me on a deadlift, I'll kick it in the teeth. But the fast twitch is going to be challenging. The mobility and the stability are challenging.
Sure.
I can probably strict press as 3 times the weight that I can overhead squat. So how do you rank all those? Is it really just trying to find the right balance between all of them? Or?
Yeah, so most people's, again, outside of CrossFit, the requirements, mobility and flexibility wise, are not going to be as high. Just not. CrossFit is just as a sport requires some of the highest out of every physical thing you could possibly observe. It requires some of the highest amount of mobility and stability. And stability being the game thing. It's not even mobility as much. Most people think they're not mobile. It's no, you're not stable at the shoulder, then the ankle, wherever the hell it may be. So I would say that your mobility and flexibility program should be tailored to whatever the fitness you're doing. If you're going to Orange